we're going to read this poem together. Well, I'm going to read it out loud, and I want you to follow along. The poem is called Easy as Pie. Author, author, tell me please, why do you write this book? Author, author, can I tell? Let me have a look. Author, author, you persuaded me to think about something new. Author, author, how did you know? I wondered about that too. Author, author, I just read information true. Author, author, you taught me something you already knew. Author, author, what a treat, the story you just told. Author, author, entertaining me with something I can hold. Author, author, I can tell why you wrote this book. Author, author, easy as pie, thank you for the look. Look at your poem, and I want you to see, I know it might be difficult to tell, but can you find the bolded words in the poem? Where are the bolded words? Do you see one? Where do you see a bolded word? Entertaining, correct, so that's a bolded word. Dakota? Information is a bolded word. There's one more. Calvin? Carlin?
Persuaded.
Persuaded. So the three bolded words were persuaded, information, and entertaining. These are all purposes of why authors write. And a little trick to remember this is through the acronym PIE. Do we all know what an acronym is? It's a word that stands for you can use to stand for something else. So the P in PIE stands for persuade, the I in PIE stands for inform, and the E in PIE stands for entertain. So an author can persuade through their writing, they can inform through their writing, and they can entertain through their writing. So persuading means to convince the reader of a certain point of view. Inform means to teach or give information to the reader. And entertain means to hold the attention of the reader through enjoyment. So you can remember author's choice through the acronym and the word PIE. So it says easy as pie. And it's important to understand why an author is writing so that as you're reading, you can understand what the author wants you to know from what they're reading, okay? So I have a few examples of writings of an author. And I want your help categorizing these examples in the columns of their purposes. So the purpose is either going to be to persuade, to inform, or to entertain. So I'll do the first one for you. So the first one I have is novels. So stories. And I know that I read stories for enjoyment, so I'm going to put that in the entertain column. Because it's entertaining to read a story. So the next one I have is movies. Can somebody put this in the column that pertains to the author's purpose? Can you help? Where are you going to put that? In the entertain column. And why did you put it in the entertain column? Because it's enjoyable to watch movies, right? What about reviews? Does everyone know what a review is? What do you think? To inform? And why did you put it in the inform column?
Because you built it again.
Because so it's informing maybe somebody to do something again. So review is a way of maybe giving information to people about a certain product or a certain subject and reviewing that, right? Okay, what about opinions? Where would the opinions go? Into the persuade, inform, or entertain column. What do you think, Billy? Persuade. And why do you think it will go into the persuade column?
Because you're trying to tell somebody your opinion.
Okay, good. What about an advertisement? Now some of these can go in more than one column. What do you think? Daryl? Inform or entertain. It could even go in a persuade column, right? because sometimes commercials can persuade you to buy a product, but you're right, it can inform you about something or entertain. What about a billboard? A sign? What do you think, Josie? This could kind of go in more than one column too, I think. And why do you think that? It could be an informational billboard. Good. All right. What about a commercial? What do you think? Which column would a commercial fall into? Okay, a commercial could persuade. A commercial could also inform or entertain as well. What about a comic or a joke? What do you think, Ida? Nevea. Sorry. Okay. Good. And why do you think that? It's joyful. It can be funny. What about a fiction book? What do you think, Moises? Inform. Well, what are you reading about in a fiction book? Are you reading about information or what's in a fiction book? For entertainment, and why do you think it should go in the entertainment column?
Because people who make the books and make those type of books funny.
Okay, so the author can make the book funny and enjoyable. What about biographies? What do you think the author's purpose is for writing a biography? What do you think? Inform. And why do you think that?
It's trying to tell you about the person you're reading about.
Good. Because it tells you about a person you're reading about. What about recipes? What do you think? What's the author's purpose of writing a recipe? To inform? And why do you think that? Good, because they're telling you how to make a certain food. What about a news article? Daryl? Inform.
This reads wants to know if you had any.
And why are you going to put it in the inform column? What's the author's purpose of writing a news article? Good. So current events, informing you about what's happening. A few more. Non-fiction books. What do you think, Wade? Inform. And why do you think it goes in the inform column? Information. Good. Documentaries. This one could fall in a few different columns as well. What do you think, Billy? Persuade. What is it? What's in a documentary? Think about. Do you know what a documentary is? There's facts, but it's a movie about facts. So, which column do you think it would be? It could go in entertain, and then since it also is factual, it could also go in the inform column. But we can put it in
One it is.
Good. I have one more. Political ads. Where do you think political ads could fall? What do you think, Ida? The inform column? It could go in the inform column. It could also go in the persuade column. If they're persuading you to vote a certain way, the political ad is an advertisement for a political figure. So you can either put it in the persuade or the inform column. Good. Okay, good job. So now you are going to get a chance to practice this on your own. We're going to work on a worksheet, and we'll do the first one together, but would you mind helping pass this out? And the worksheet has different passages that we're going to read, and we're going to identify what the author is writing about and write that on the first line. And then we're going to identify what the author's purpose was, which is either going to be to persuade, entertain, or inform. Does everyone have one? So, looking at number 1, it says Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was born February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. She spent her childhood in Alabama. When she was 11, she enrolled in the Montgomery Industrial School for Girls. Later, she worked as a seamstress in Montgomery. Rosa Parks has been called the mother of the Civil Rights Movement and one of the most important citizens of the 20th century in the early 1950s. So the first question says, what is the author writing about? So in my mind, I have to kind of summarize what I just read to figure out what the author is writing about. So I know that the author is telling us a lot of information about Rosa Parks. So I know she was born in February, she was in the Montgomery Industrial School for Girls. There's a lot of information about this one person. So I think, answering the second question, that the author's purpose is to inform, because there's a lot of information. So you can write that on the blanks. And then you can work on the rest of the paper. If you want to move table groups together, they can work on it. Or, and if you need extra practice, you can meet me up here and we'll read it together and go over it, okay?
All right, if you want to move back to where your table groups